Hello everyone, Charles from the Bible Unbound, and today we're going to take a look at the first volume of the ESV Expository Commentary. So one of the things we tend to use the most in our Bible studies are commentaries. So commentaries give you a little bit more information than your standard study Bible because you've got a lot more room to have more verbose notes. And this is definitely on that vein of some really in-depth notes. So the construction, it is a hardcover, single volume. Since this is Genesis to Numbers, this is going to be one of the larger volumes. It's hardcover all the way around. It's pretty nice. It has a single-sided ribbon on here that is roughly a quarter inch to a half inch. Has your expository commentary, Genesis and Numbers, and on the spine, it has this really nice floret logo on the top. It looks like there are 4 of these marked hubs, as well as your ESV logo, Expository Commentary, Volume 1, Genesis and Numbers, and the Crossway logo in this nice gold gilding. When we go into the Bible itself, you'll notice this is a pretty well-constructed hardcover. So it's a paper liner with, it looks like I can see some reinforcement tape there. So after your liner, you have your expository commentary notes, list of your editors, your expository commentary, Volume 1, Genesis and Numbers, and then the contributor for each of the separate books. And then we go into our copyright page. So it looks like this is the first printing in 2025 of this. And it doesn't look like this is the 2025 text. I'm not seeing the note which says it's the ESV 2025, but this could still be the previous printing's ESV standard text. So as you go into the contents, you have the listing of your tables, your figures, your preface, the contributors, attributions, then Genesis, Leviticus, Exodus, Numbers, scripture index. You can really tell that this is a Smithsonian construction. Something this large, it really makes sense for it to be constructed that well. Then you go in listing of all the tables in each of the books, your figures, and into your preface. You'll hear me say it every single time you read the preface at least once, because it gives you a better idea of any special notations, any special markings and abbreviations, kind of help you understand the body of the text that you're reading itself. After that preface, you've got to list your contributors, the list of abbreviations. It even goes into, I think, the abbreviations for the books of the Bible itself, for all of the cross-references. And it looks like it does cite 2 other non-canonical sources of Second Maccabees and Sirach Ecclesiastes. Then you get into your introductions. Now these introductions are a little bit more verbose than your typical study Bible because you have that much more room that you can spend in a work like this. So you have your overview, which is multiple pages, which includes the title, the date and the occasion for which it was written, the genre and literary features, the theology of Genesis in relationship to the rest of the Bible itself, a list of the different doctrines that are supported in Genesis. And it looks like a note on preaching from the book of Genesis and interpretive challenges. Very, very nice. Then you get into your outline, which is really well represented with the listing of the outline plus the chapter and verse for each of those sections. You get into the main body of the text. What I really like that they do in this series, it's not just a commentary. Like some of the other commentaries that we have where it's just the notes and all you have to find them is the chapter and verse that you're getting from your previous book. Now this has the body of the text that's split out into 1 to 3 or 4 chapters for each of them. And then after the chapter, of the Bible itself. You have your footnotes, and this is all single column all the way through. I really like seeing that this is pretty much line matched, and there's generous spacing around both of your outer edges and your inner margin. So if you wanted to take some kind of notes or highlighting, marking, you can do that. I don't tend to do it in most of these type of materials, but there's plenty of room to do so. And this paper is fairly thick, and it's not as much show through as you think. I mean, I can see the page behind it, but I can't see much past that. It just looks like it's like a faded marking behind there, but it's really readable. It's probably much more readable than what it's showing on the overhead camera. The main body of the text will have the text and usually a line of some kind on the separated notes here, but you have the body of the text, you have any footnotes, and it looks like there might be some cross-references in here. But your cross-references are mainly going to be in the notes themselves. You have little outlines of each of the sections, and then you have the commentary of that section. And any special footnotes will be at the bottom of that commentary as well. These are really verbose, and I really like how detailed they are in a lot of these notes. We'll go to the next section. You'll see these are broken up to Genesis 2:4 for this next section. And they have the overview of the section, the outline. So it helps kind of break these into more bite-sized chunks. Instead of trying to do a generic overview for the entire chapter, you're doing the overviews for each section, because especially Genesis, the way they lay out each of the sections has a lot more meaning, and it helps to break these down to understand each of those sections as you go through. Now here's one of the first examples. You have the poetry in Genesis 3. So the way they do the poetic sections, it is in that nice verse format that is separated, so you can definitely tell where your main body, your text is, and your formatting for your verse text are. And I love this. So the reorder of after the divine intervention, how they break going up and down that ladder. That's very nice. I love this whole section. The whole note section here is just on 29:15 to 30. There's a lot of information in there. But I like the way that they're handling the formatting here for the poetic sections. The way they lay them out, it makes more logical sense for most of the ESV Bibles that I read. And I think you'll probably see more of this as we get into Job, we get into the Psalms, and then any of the Proverbs afterwards. It'd be nice to see how they lay out the Proverbs and break them out. But this is just covering Genesis to, looks like Numbers. We'll jump into Exodus, and you'll notice its overview is pretty substantial. And it looks like they are going pretty deep into each of the sections here with a few tables. This one's responding to skepticism about Exodus' historicity, where you have errors of evidence is lacking and your response for each of those supposed errors. It's very nice. I like their use of some of these tables, as well as the way that they're quoting the chapter and verse that's built into this. It is very readable. The level of understanding can be a bit more than most people grasp at first. I think this is more geared toward people that are in either seminary studies or doing deep theological research. And the way that they break out each of the sections with their overviews, outlines, there is just so much that you can unpack out of this. And I think if you're used to the way that Crossway presents its information in some of their study Bible resources, you'll see a bit of that here, like the way they use the tables as well as the rest of their notations. So this is pretty straightforward all the way through, and we're going to show you in the back one of the benefits of their indexing system here. So in the back, after the text, you have the scripture index. Now, one of the things I do like about their system here is the way they do their scripture index. Now, it gives you the chapter and verse plus their page numbers, which makes it a little bit easier to go through and find the information you want, because you could be probably passing maybe 100 pages to get to the chapter and verse you want in that book. This lays it out really well, and it's pretty concise. And it's going all the way through from Genesis all the way through to Numbers. Pretty straightforward. And I think there aren't any other bells and whistles at the end. After that, you've got your rear paste-in page and then the back of the Bible. This nice little slip sheet will come off, and it'll make it look really nice when you have this on the shelf. Typically, most Bibles, I don't say to store on their spines because you'll get a little bit of drooping. But with a volume this big, I don't think you're going to be able to avoid that unless you're storing your entire collection on the sides, which the way this is designed, it's made to be on a shelf in an entire collection. I really like this, and this has kind of been on my bucket list for a while to start collecting these. And since the collection is now complete, I will definitely be looking into finishing these. I really love this. This is one of the main commentary series that I wanted to get. There's at least 2 more that are on my list, but ever since I saw that they were going to release these, I wanted to wait and get a copy of it to actually see it in person, and I'm much more impressed than I thought I would be. The notes are really in depth, they're really well thought out, and they'll make an excellent pairing for your theological studies. Now, I know my wife has been really happy about us getting this because it fills that gap. Because in the online ESV app, you were able to have the entire commentary series with the exception of Genesis and Numbers, because they were just completing those this year. So now that it's soon to be released, and you can actually add this to your collection, and I believe something like this will help edify you for years to come. And we thank Crossway for being able to help us provide this. So we're going to end this video here. As always, we ask you to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know if you like this commentary, or if there are any other materials that you would like to see us try to showcase on this channel. And we will do our best in order to bring that to you. So until next time, we hope that you have a good day, night, evening, wherever you are. And we hope to see you in the next video.